Okay, so the deal, I understand that there's a deal between the US and Ukraine, and I think this, some people are going to be like, is Ukraine going to get effed, right? But I think it's a deal that Zelensky feels like it's a good deal because there will always then be some form of protection provided from the US to Ukraine, which they really need. So I think Zelensky has come to some kind of calming down, and maybe I think with that calm down, I think I see Duck kind of like harmonizing the relationship. Do you know when I see Duck like he's like, I see Duck like, I think there was some bullying for Zelensky, okay? But I see Duck like sees Zelensky as a JD Vance level or a secondary level politician, that he didn't handle that meeting the way he should, or like a father in a spoilt late teens who decides to say what he wants, does what he wants, and the father's like, that's not happening. If you don't like it, you can get out, okay? And until you think of what you want, you can go to your room or something like that. But then the father kind of like sees the son in the kitchen and he says hiya or something like that. Or he sees the son look at him in some kind of way, and he can see like the turning of a bit more of a maturity. And so that bridges the gap and the opening of the door. But a lot of people will feel, are they going to get effed by this, where it's not of the Ukraine's benefit and just US? But I think, let's see, what deal is it? Is it resources? Yeah, so here, the deal, I do think it's resources because I got 3 of Pentacles as I said that. And I think someone might have said resources. So there's a lot of worry around it, okay? But it seems like this looks like a fresh start, okay? There is a little bit of, there is something that's going to be a bit, I want to say not fully studied, but it's not that. It's kind of like we've waited for so long to have something in place that I don't feel I'm in the most powerful position, and this grants hope when the land is getting stolen day by day and things are just, there's different, it's kind of like Zelensky feels like they're open to things just getting worse. And he knows that any deal will mean that there will be something that is taken. There is the strategy of benefit. I mean, that's why they have a deal, right? But the outcome is very positive. Okay, so I look at the outcome of the deal. It's for both, or it's powerful. There is some kind of manipulation there, and manipulation of resources as well. It does help with the borders, the border control in this moment in time, and it helps with money. So is this to the US or Ukraine? And Ukraine's outcome is that they get this deal. So I don't know if this deal has gone ahead or not, but they have Trump a little bit more on their side. They have power now where they didn't have power. So I'm presuming there's a resource or something that they're giving the US, and so Ukraine feel that the US will be a bit more protected. They're not going to allow Russia to go a bit further, or allows Ukraine to defend better. But the conflict won't stop to the extent that, or thinking it's totally, but I think it's stabilizing for Ukraine. there could be some volatile energy, okay, in this deal, but the overall outcome seems to be more helpful than disadvantage, and I think it gives the nation as a whole hope, feeling stronger, feeling a bit more protected, and gives it some sovereignty and balance in terms of economy as well, okay, which is good, right? So that's the a deal on Ukraine. Now, I did mention in the last one about the cyber hackings, and I do think there's a potential for a royal. We did have also, there's been airport security issues in the UK. I've mentioned about this in previous predictions for certain countries, the UK and the US. I do think as within the next 3 months into September, there could be, we're going to see the Democrats in the US bringing up challenges to try and stop Duck. And it could be legalities as well on things he's introducing or anything else to try and stop him in his tracks a little bit, or as much as they can. I do think as we go on, there's going to be a ruffling of the third run-up election to commence. So whether it's for Duck or who can win, and I think we're going to see an increased sort of signs of ruffling and conflict already for the next election, like between the two parties. I do think there's something coming up with France. I've mentioned that, but I also see that JD Vance and Duck could meet with the French president. I also think that JD, when he met with Trump and Zelensky, he was really trying to get the respect for Duck and the US. I think JD Vance, out of the goodness, might just overstep in one of these presidential meetings or leader meetings where Duck feels like he needs to just put him in his place a little bit. And that might be caught on publicly, which is going to upset Vance and cause a bit of a ruffle. But I don't think he's going to leave, at least for now. I don't see him leaving the party for that. But I do see that. I also saw that Duck was going to meet King Charles. I think King Charles is going to brush his ego with something, whether it's a gift or whether, Duck comes out to say about a special meeting or something. There's something that King Charles does to brush the ego, but also in like recognition, but also gifting. And there could be a UK-US deal in terms of tariffs on certain things. I do think Trump could soften on something for the UK in terms of tariffs. And I think, there could be a tax-off deal for the UK on something American. It could be an American airline. It could be American. It's like a service or an industry or a sector or something that comes up that could be in the UK, but then there's a tax-off deal that the US proposed to the UK if we introduce it, or if we have this maybe chain of supermarkets or film or sound or something that the US owns, fine arts, something there. I do think that there's going to be so Nigel Farage I think he's going to have a meeting with Duck, but I also see him starting to win votes. I'm doing this at the end of April. I don't watch the news, so I don't know, right? But if there's no voting right now, because we just had an election, I think he is going to be gaining momentum again. I feel like it went quiet for a couple of months, but I don't know. I know that in February, Jan time, it was very big because of the upset at the end of last year. So I do see that. I feel like Europe seems to be out of focus at the moment, because so much focus is on Ukraine and Russia, Israel, China. But I think if there is a EU crisis, it could come back into focus around that. So let's pull cards on Keir Starmer in this next 3 months, because I think he could be wavering in his position. So he is stalled at this moment in time, and I feel like he's held back at this moment in time. Not him stalling, he's actually held back. We can't see by who, but this could definitely be around legal justice, the government. He is held back. And he's focusing on some loss. I think his position is on wobbles right now. And I know a lot of people have been saying that since last year, but I feel like it could be on wobbles right now with the cards I'm seeing. And he could be put in a position to make a move that's very critical and very challenging for him, where he also has to defend himself. So read into that as much as you can. I mentioned about disasters in the first part. I'm going to say Bangladesh. I feel like there's a maybe a flooding, a disaster coming up for Bangladesh as well. This could see India coming to humanitarian aid, you know. I do think that there's going to be a tax deal, possibly with Taiwan as well, or a deal, tariff deal, US and Taiwan. I think there's going to be some dirt coming up on a Democratic politician, and I do think that there's going to be more dirt being dished on Harvey Weinstein and also politicians that were also involved. I think there's more going to be on the I'm forgetting that this is going on YouTube, the EPI list, but it won't fully be disclosed, and more is coming, not where it's all redacted. And I think it will have a Democratic or an enemy of duck is going to be on there, I think, or on a list that dishes dirt. I've said in the past that I see when George Bush passes, massive dirt on him. I do think Bill Gates has got massive dirt that's going to come out, whether it's between these lists or not, but there's something huge. I've said that in the past, and I say it again. I said it in, I think, maybe 3-4 months ago at the beginning of this year. And you know, I've mentioned for the US, you're going to see increase in inflation. This could also mean in your supermarkets, you go for a certain brand and it's missing off the shelves, and after a certain time you see that it's replaced by a different brand and it's discontinued. And this is all part of the US trying to gain its power back, trying to pull itself back. And so I do see that as well. I think in terms of shortages, there could be shortages and, you know, heightened public upset around Thanksgiving and Christmas. So maybe you want to get some stuff in that you see on deals at this moment in time. So just in case that is there, I don't mean get your turkey right now, but like if you want to get little gifts or something, essentials that don't go off, it might be a good idea. I do think Trump Duck is keeping the word to the public in terms of protecting the public. I do think he's going to keep his word on that. Just want to pull cards on something because I was getting... There could be something that comes up with Melania in the news. I'm not really connecting to what it is, but there could be something there that comes up with Melania or Baron. And Baron, it could be an accident or something. It's not dead serious, but I think it's something that may shake or a bit of fear, but it's not dead serious. I see more exposure of corrupt judges, system, people in higher power, UK, US, and possibly other countries as well. So that's what I have for you, and I hope you enjoyed this. We've covered the next 3 months. We've covered May, and you know, please do like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you enjoy it being cut into, if you enjoy it being cut into several parts, let me know. If you prefer it all in one part and you can just continue to watch and you will remember to watch, then I can do that as well. All right, everyone, take care of yourselves, and any questions, I think I've covered everything, but any questions, you can send them through. Thank you for being a Patreon. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for being here, and anyone else, thank you for being a subscriber, supporting the channel when you can, buying me a coffee, and God bless you all, and I will see you in our next one. Maybe I'll get to the missing kids. Have we heard anything else on Emily Pike? And stay blessed. Bye for now.